All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. Wanted to make a quick video about the 2024 Model S Plaid. What's new, what's different, what's changed since the initial rollout, and of course, more importantly, why we decided to upgrade and why now. So we're going to take a look. This is going to be a little bit different than a standard review. It's going to be a lot shorter, and we're just going to be focusing on the differences from the initial one to now 2024. All right, so let's jump right in right now. So the theme of this video is going to be what they should have done all along, right? This is the car you actually paid for if you bought a 2021, 2022, even early 2023 Model S. This is the car you actually paid for in its 2024 form, sadly. So you paid a lot more money. You got a lot less features than the current model, but this model is the one you actually want to pay for, or the one that you should have been paying for back in 2021 or 2020, whatever you bought. So, okay, so starting with the exterior is largely the same. We love this car. This is, in our opinion, the greatest car, greatest sedan you could have. It's the all-in-one car. It can do it all. Again, doesn't have to be the best at every aspect of things, but it can do everything. It can haul the family. It can go fast. It can go fast around a track, maybe once or twice, depending on the brake situation. But it's a great all-around car, and it has timeless looks. So exterior-wise, we were very happy with this car. Being able to buy the same car with a very similar facade has always been a benefit for us, and that's why we keep buying the Model S over and over again. But this particular one, what we're looking at here is just some changes to the outside, some good, not so good, but I want to show you one of the key things. The first thing is going to be the front fascia here that you see here, and that's going to be the headlights. Headlights have changed. They've changed to a more matrix-based headlight system, matrix LED headlight system, which is a little bit different than before, where they had the cubes in there that represent the headlights, similar to how the Lucid has their little cubes to represent headlights, but these are a little bit different. So this is the change that I wasn't really excited about because it has these two little bulbs effectively in there, if you guys can see. And those two bulbs have a different look than sort of the square, futuristic look of the other ones. So this is something I haven't really noticed a major difference. There is more light spread, but I haven't noticed a major difference in driving at night in terms of what these bring in terms of functionality over the previous ones. The thing that I really noticed is just the visual of it. So it looks a little bit different. So again, matrix headlights are on. Let's see if I can flash the lights really quick so you guys can see. Okay, so there you go. Those are the new lights. I'll flash again. Okay. Flash again. Just two bulbs. That look is a little bit different than the look that we had before, which again was that sort of squared off situation. So that's the only thing that's really changed from the front of the car in terms of design, in terms of aero, all that good stuff. It's still the same wonderful, timeless design in our opinion. People are asking for a refresh or more of a refresh. We don't think it's necessary in our opinion. We think it's just fine the way it is, but that's what's changed in the front. Let's step around to the back, and we're going to talk about some other things that have changed here. Obviously, as you come around the side, we'll see the new hardware 4 cameras. The housing is still the same. The difference is just going to be the lens that's there. It's a little bit of a reddish tint, if you can see it. A little bit of a reddish glare there to indicate hardware 4. Everything else is largely the same until we come to the back. Now, the back, we've got this very interesting charge port situation where we've changed over to the new charge port system, the flap, like I call it. Instead of flapping back like it used to flap, it flaps up and out. And I don't really like that. I don't like that design. I understand why they did it. They had to make more space for more of the international standards, but I just don't like that design. Specifically, what I don't like about the design is the fact that one, there's a motor there that could obviously break. Before, it was just a magnetic flap that would just flap open. So less parts there, less moving parts. And then more importantly, the port itself is not lit. The older models, since Model S began, had a lit port, an inlet port, where this part of the car was lit up. And what that provides you is lots of visibility of where you're plugging your plug at when you're in the dark and at night. Okay, so if you're in a situation where it's dark in the garage, you need to plug up the car, you don't want to turn on the lights and wake everybody up or whatever the case may be, you can easily plug it in, no problem. This new design just has a lit T, which is not very helpful in the dark. You actually have to turn the lights on to be able to see where you're plugging this in at. So I don't really like that design. Okay, so that's the one thing I don't like about the rear. Going back fully around the rear, we see more details. And here's the other part of the rear that I just don't like. I couldn't really get a handle on, and that was the new taillight design overall. This looks like a sort of pinch version of the previous one, The Model X, for instance, has a more uh, traditional headlight with the additional elements that are necessary for international, again, standards here. So this one is like kind of pinch and really dreading having this rear design. And they also took away my double-edged katana blade. They had a little nice detail here where you had the effectively the blade of this continuing into a point. So it's like two katana blades into the headlight fixture itself, which is a really cool design piece, really fit the car well. And now that is gone. Okay. So that's one thing I don't like about the rear. But we do have the Plaid badge. We have the new Plaid badge, which is like a refrigerator magnet style Plaid badge, so it's flat, versus the originals, which had the embossed version of the Plaid badge, which was nice to look at, but hard to clean because the rags would snag on the embossing and things like that. So this is a new design. And then in between this design and the original embossed Plaid badge, they had a Plaid badge, which was just the words Plaid, which is the one we actually got, where it just said spelled the words Plaid out. Okay, so that's the difference. Otherwise, everything else is the same here on the car. The wheels and tires are the same. The brake calipers are now different. Instead of black, they went with red. They've got the new improved thermal brake pads. So it's supposed to be able to last a little bit longer. Don't know if that's true or not. But obviously, you can always upgrade to the track pack, and you can even upgrade to the track pack from the factory as well. So that's great. So you get the carbon ceramics, the new wheels and tires, in addition to that. Only caveat is that when you get the track pack, you cannot swap out these for the 19 or 20 inch. I think they're 19 inches, the aero wheels effectively. Okay. You have to have 21s at all times for all seasons. Just change out your tires. So if you're doing the carbon ceramics, you'll be locked into 21 as a spec. If you're not doing the ceramics, you'll be able to swap between 21s and 19s. I'm thinking about getting the 19s, the aero ones, just for efficiency, but also for, potholes and curves and things like that. I won't be so paranoid because those are a little less expensive to fix. All right. So that's that in terms of the car exterior. Again, nothing really changing. We do have the new Tesla glass, which again preserves that nice black top while also rejecting the harmful rays of the sun, keeping you cool, but also letting a lot more light in as a result. All right, guys, now we're on the interior. And again, the theme here being this is the car that, they should have brought out, 3 years ago. We got these now new sport seats, Plaid sport seats, which are similar to the sort of Recaro racing seats that you might have in any other brand of car. Very functional, very supportive, reminding me a little bit more of the next gen seats they used to have, the P85s, also called the Gen 4 seats, and a combination of the new style. So these are really great. I'll talk about these in just a second, but I just also wanted to point out that these seats design extend from the front as well as the rear as well. We'll get into that in just a second. So in terms of the seats, same adjustments, nothing changed here. What has changed is the overall design and functionality of the seats. The previous seats were very comfortable, but they were not very supportive. These are very supportive, but as a result, not very comfortable. And specifically around this area. Bigger bolsters, harder bolsters. So that, again, if you're a little bit wider, you're going to feel them a lot. If you're a lot narrower, you might not feel them at all. But that's going to be the biggest problem. So getting in and out of the car, you're hitting this, and they're hard. Sitting in the car, they're very, very hard. Like a hard piece of plastic is right underneath there. Again, providing you very functional support to keep you in the seat, but just not very comfortable over time. Okay, so far, we're about 500 miles in, and again, not breaking in the seats too much, it seems, but it's still very uncomfortable. Longer drives are very, very noticeable, where these seats just are not as comfortable as the standard seats. Again, but very functional. Hold you in place way better. Okay. Inside the seat, in case you didn't know, they have the Plaid badge here, but they also kept, which I was concerned about, the speakers behind here for the active noise cancellation. Whether that works for you or not, or you can notice the difference, it doesn't matter. It's still there. So you have that functionality still there. And again, the seats are pretty much all the same. The cool thing about the seats in the rear that they also carry on this design, but they're a little softer. So this is soft. There's no hard plastic in here. So it's more comfortable and supportive at the same time. So your passengers are not going to feel sort of the tension that you feel in the front with the stronger bolstered seats in the front. I'll call it that. Left the car seat in there just so you can see what the fit is for the car seat. Again, perfect car for us. Just because, again, you have that flexibility and versatility to have two car seats, one here, one there. no one in the middle. And then speaking of car seats, we have a new design with these new seats in terms of the ISOFIX latches here in the back. So typically what you would have to do is kind of stick your finger or stick something in there to hook on to it. Now they made it very easy. This slides right up, expose the ISOFIX latches right there. So super easy to get a car seat in, booster seat, whatever the case may be. Really loving that feature. Otherwise, no power drop down, just a standard latch with the automatic push down, and then the no way to recline the seats any further. They're just fixed in place. So in this current configuration, what this seat is actually reminding me of is the executive seats. If you remember, if you're old enough in the game here to remember the Tesla executive seats where they had the fixed center console and the higher bolsters with the next gen seats in the front and the higher bolsters in the rear. This is what this is representative of, but again, just done a lot better. Okay. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. I'm going to jump in the rear first just because it's the quickest, and I'll point out something else. So also in here, we get the new screen with the smaller bezels, which is great. And we also get the new Bluetooth antenna, something you might not know. So if you have a pre-2023 Model S Plaid or Model S long range, you don't have the adequate Bluetooth antenna to connect items wirelessly through Bluetooth. They don't tell you that. You won't know it until you try, but if you try to connect the kids' headphones to the 2021, which we're glad we don't have anymore, you cannot do it. It'll give you the option, but you just can't do it. So there's a new antenna. They've added this antenna, and maybe it's late 2023 or early 23 where they added it. I'm not sure, but it's here. And now you can actually pair the Bluetooth headsets or any type of Bluetooth headsets that you have to the car and to the rear screen so they can watch their own thing. So that's super, super cool. Okay, again, the car we paid for, but not the car we got. This is the car we wanted. All right. Jumping inside quickly, the real major difference here is just going to be some of the small details. For instance, there are now grips in the cup holder. Before, this was just all empty. It was kind of plastic in here. There's a rubbery texture to all this, so very sticky in terms of being able to keep objects in place. But there was a sort of a plastic fixture here. It fit the cup, but then things would kind of slide around in here. So this actually holds it in firmly, especially if you're driving spiritedly. You'll be able to not spill your coffee, your tea, your water, whatever you're drinking. So that's pretty cool. That's different and changed. Same thing for the rear. Rear cup holders have that as well. Okay. Otherwise, we got, basically the thing that we wanted for so long, which is the tilting screen. We got the screen that tilts now, which again provides more visibility behind the yoke as the yoke kind of sticks out a little bit and covers a little bit of the screen. So we got the tilting screen, come here, and we can change the display and make it, flat. We can change it around. And that's something that, again, we paid for, but we never got, right? So these are all promises that Tesla had on the original order page of the Model S Plaid that just didn't come to fruition for those who purchased early. So shame on them, bad for us. So I got that now. And I also got the improved memory. So now the memory is bumped up from 8 gigs to 16 gigs, which is the requisite for playing those Steam games. So if you have Steam games, if you want to play games in the car, certain games you can't play because you don't have the right RAM. And that's why Steam was unavailable for your car if you have a 2021 or 2022 with the 8 gigs of RAM, or maybe 9 gigs of RAM. Now you have 16 gigs of RAM and you can play that. So this is great here. Again, the car we paid for because we were promised Steam games, we were promised tilting screens, we were promised all these things, and they just didn't come to fruition. Pairing the headset to the rear, things like that, just didn't come to fruition. So in the end, this is pretty much what it is. Straightforward, to the point. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. A really, really nice car. Really, really great outlook on this car in terms of look at the visibility of this new roof. Much brighter, lets a lot more light into the cabin, which is great for, being able to see out the car and having light in the car, even though it's a lower profile car and you may want to have tints. So this is a good option here. And for being able to see your face in FSD. So this is great. Okay, otherwise storage is all the same. Everything else is the same. Pedals are the same. Doors are the same. No ambient lighting on this particular build, even though we heard rumors of it. Don't think I need ambient lighting. Think it's more of a distraction, seeing the reflection of the light on the window, especially in the Model 3, the new redesigned one. And obviously, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, the new yoke. This is also improved, taking a little bit of time to get used to it and adjusted to it. Basically, they try to make it more of a sport-based yoke, different, like a sport-based wheel. So now there's the contrast stitching on the inside, seams around the outside as well. which just give it a different look and a feel. I'm used to it being smooth all around, smooth on the inside, but you get that texture there, which I think is helpful. But again, I'm just getting used to it, and they try to make it more like a sport version of the standard car, right? Obviously, the new design also includes good things like the redesigned schema here, which has the horn now in the middle as a button, as a button you can press, as a horn that you can press, which is great. So still the airbag here, maybe a slight indentation of the vein that was still there, but hardly noticeable at all. But the reality is that you now have a horn here, so you can just hit this to hit the horn. I'm not going to hit that now. And they replaced the horn button with the camera button. So now you get a quick action camera button. We used to use the auxiliary function of the scroll wheel to do that before, where you kind of hold that down, pop it up. This happens a lot faster with this one, just to give you a quick taste. So a lot quicker there. So we definitely appreciate that. But overall, yeah, the yoke is the way we went. Again, we didn't go with the wheel. The reason why we did not go with the wheel is because the wheel is going to give you the same functionality, but just in wheel format. And what that means is you're going to be trying to do the things that you do with a wheel, like grab it from the top, but the buttons are still here because there's no stalk. So grabbing from the top is great because you can slide down and hit a stalk from here to here, no problem. But the issue here is that if you're going to have the buttons here, you're going to have your hands somewhere in this area anyway. So you might as well get the yoke and just have your hands there sort of permanently. So everything is just easy access versus going like this and sliding your hand down to press that, or sliding your hand down to try to press a turn signal. So this kind of forces you to drive the car with both hands handy to be able to make those types of decisions, or at least your left hand available, your left hand on the wheel more than anything else. So again, that's pretty cool. We definitely like the new version of it. Hopefully we'll see how it holds up over time, if there's any peeling. A lot smoother than before, but the horn is the big deal, big difference here, and being able to have that horn in the center. One of the things that we got in this car that I didn't mention prior is the lack of ultrasonic sensors, which I think is a big mistake on Tesla's end to remove. Just the redundancy of that feature, especially in parking situations, is super critical. And instead, we have Tesla Vision in terms of parking. So we have hardware for just Tesla Vision. And as of this video, we don't have Summon, but I believe we're going to get Summon with the actually Smart Summon release coming out very soon. So depending on when you're watching this video, when it was actually filmed, Summon wasn't available. So Summon is not available in the app, but it should be available really, really soon for the hardware for cars. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, just thinking about the parking situation, how you actually park and how you maneuver around things, you just don't get that proximity. And there's a little bit of a built-in buffer here when you're parking, where it kind of lets you know how far you are and kind of stops and says you're hitting something when you're far from it. That's a built-in buffer just for safety. But at the end of the day, it's just not as reliable, in my opinion, as the ultrasonic sensors. So we're definitely going to miss that feature from the old car, just being able to see those rings go off when we're next to objects, or to specify distance in actual measurements, like 8 inches, 10 inches, 4 inches, whatever the case may be, or higher. 8 inches was the minimum. So like 12 inches, 24 inches, something like that. This does not. This just shows a heat map that shows hot, hotter, hottest, in terms of being in contact with things. Again, it's just not very reliable. And so that's pretty much it. I think the next thing that they were going to add potentially was going to be a front camera. Maybe we missed that. Maybe we don't. But at the end of the day, this is a great, great car. Glad we came back to it. Glad we were able to upgrade. And now we talk about the reason why we upgraded. The reason why we upgraded, obviously, is because we didn't get the car we paid for. The original Model S was somewhere in the range of 147 US, right? 147 when you spec it all out and add full self-driving, about 147 US. And we didn't get all the features we wanted. So that was really a disappointment to see. The new one starts at 89 and goes up to maybe 104 US, 105 if you add FSD or whatever the case may be. And that's, again, a big challenge for people who lost so much money on those first cars and are now getting a much better car for way lesser cost. So we have the opportunity to be able to take advantage of the FSD transfer and be able to transfer the FSD. Then we're only paying for the car without FSD, which is a great deal in and of itself. So we had to take the hit on the first car, upgrade to the new car, and now we're locked in and we think we're pretty good, fingers crossed, knock on carbon fiber, that's going to be the case, that we're going to be good for the future. Now, obviously, they're going to come out, they're going to do continuous upgrades to their cars like they always do. New features, new added all the time, not telling you about it, just kind of rolling them out as they go along. And that's fine. It's okay. We're okay with what we got. It's about being able to buy the car that's right for you at that time, not based on the promise of future features. And this is the car now that suits our family best. We have the rear Bluetooth. We can connect wirelessly to the kids to the headphones. We have the new RAM. They can play games, higher caliber games, higher quality games. We can play them as well. We have the latest antennas as well. Full self-driving, and the new CCS and NACS charging capabilities, the heat pump, 16 gigs of RAM, like I said, the modem capabilities, all that good stuff, and then HomeLink option 5, a HomeLink 5 version as well. So that's pretty cool. So again, we have all the things that make sense to us, and that's effectively what matters for us right now. So again, great car. Wish they would have came up with this back in 2021. They did not. And this is the car now for us, for the foreseeable future in terms of a family sedan. All right. Beyond that, the only other thing I can think of that they may be adding over time is just the ability to upgrade things a little bit better. If you have the 2021 model now, you can get a majority of the things that I just talked about. You can upgrade your RAM. You can get the tilted screen now. You can upgrade that. But I don't think you can upgrade the seats right now. And I don't think you can upgrade hardware 4. I think the housings for the cameras are a little bit different. So the cameras, the computer, all that stuff, you won't be able to upgrade that as of this video. That might change in the future. But you can make some of the upgrades, but just not all of them. So if you want to upgrade, that's going to be your path, that makes sense. If you can take advantage of the full self-driving transfer or any of the other incentives that are going on right now, where they're trying to sell these cars and they're giving you local incentives, maybe some dollars off, referral code, things like that, then definitely take advantage. It's definitely worth the upgrade. It's a much quieter car. I don't know what they did specifically around the wheel wells. I didn't mention that before. Around the wheel wells, a lot of debris would kick up. You can still hear the debris. It's just not as loud. But whatever they did in terms of the acoustics and the sound dampening, that especially if they're working on in the Model 3, I think they might have done something here as well, because it's much, much, much improved in terms of the quietness of the cabin. It's also much improved in terms of the suspension. I don't know what they did, but the drive feel is way better than before. And I don't know if it's just time. Maybe over time it'll wear in or break in and you'll feel it differently. But right now, when we drive right now on the 21s, hitting potholes isn't a big deal. I don't feel it as much. Going around corners fast, you don't feel the body roll as much. It's still body roll, but it's just not there as much. And then also you just don't hear a lot of the road noise. I'm not sure if the tires seem to be the same, but I think it's the suspension as well. So the suspension seems much improved. The driving experience is much improved, and you'll be able to notice that as soon as you take off. Okay, so let me know if you have an older one, you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, you don't know if you should get this one or not get this one. Let me know if you're thinking about what makes sense for you and your family and your conditions, and how it works. But just let me know what you think. Okay, so this is the car, this is it. Dope situation. Definitely worth the upgrade in our opinion. And if you're on the fence, shoot us a note, we can talk about it. Until next time, enjoy your day, enjoy your testing.